Catwoman number 27, written by Ann Nesenti, art by Patrick Olife, something like that, and Cliff Richards. This is part of the Gothtopia story going on, where everyone in Gotham thinks things are great all of a sudden, and nobody knows why, except a lot of people committing suicide. So we open up in this different world. We see Catbird, not Catwoman, Catbird, and Batman on top of a rooftop taking out some burglars, and they're just basically making out. Like, that's all they're doing. Like, oh, another case solved. Great job, Catbird. You're a great partner. So we also get some narration from some detectives who are basically saying, like, hey, things are super calm since we live in Gotham and everything's great all the time. Maybe we should go down and open some cold cases. And the other detective's like, what do you mean? Why would we worry about that? Things are so cool and awesome. So as we see the burglars that Catbird and Batman have taken out, they actually managed to free themselves from the batarangs and start running away. There's a winter parade going on in the background. I don't know. But regardless, they get recaptured again, and then the detectives show up and they're like, wow, wouldn't you know it? Another one of our jobs completed before we got here. Thank you, Batman and Catbird. And one of them is actually Detective Alvarez, who, of course, meeting up with Catwoman. He's been a main player in her book for a while. And he says, hey, yeah, crime is down everywhere except for, and she's like, no, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, oh, well, the suicides. There's so many more suicides across the entire city. Do you know somebody who would be good to talk to people and talk them down? And she's like, I might know somebody. So Batman and Catbird make plans for later that night. They kiss and they go off and do their separate things. Turns out the person that Catbird was talking about was herself, as Selina Kyle. So at the Gotham Peace Department, not the police department, anybody who survives their suicide attempt, Selina talks to them and says, oh, what's wrong? Why were you thinking this way? And the general consensus as she talks to a jock, a high school bully essentially, and also this woman who writes crime stories for the newspaper, they both weren't exactly good people, or they kind of thrived off of the misery that is Gotham. And now that that's gone away, they have nothing left to live for. But the rest of their lives are still great. So they don't know why they feel this way. So anyway, Selina at that point, she's talking to some lady at a front desk as she's leaving, and just kind of pockets a statue without even thinking about it. So then we get a call from someone at the suicide hotline, and he's got this whole crazy ass costume thing going on. And he's like, hey, I got this friend, see? And this guy thinks that, the whole world has changed and he doesn't fit in anywhere. What would you say to this friend? And she's like, some people are afraid of having good things, so they push good things away. And he's like, right, so push everything out of my life. Got it. Click. She's like, oh, okay, that call didn't go very well. Then the entire events of Detective Comics 27 happen, where Batman realizes this is all fake and he tries to get out of the simulation or whatever's going on. It's scarecrow fear toxin. And Catwoman actually captures him along with a bunch of his allies, thinking he's gone insane, and bringing him to Arkham, which isn't called Arkham. It's called something else. So as he's getting away into the rubber room, she's talking to Bluebell, who's Batgirl, saying did we do the right thing? It's Batman. We shouldn't have done that to him. And he's like, oh no, it's important. We had to do that sort of thing. So at that point, we have her go home. She, for some reason, in her trash can has her old Catwoman outfit, which she says smells horrible. And as she falls asleep that night, she has dreams of crows and ravens, and the crows turn into bats, and the scarecrows are there as well. So her subconscious is trying to tell her something, but then all of a sudden she's jumped by a big black cat, which actually turns out to be her previous self, Catwoman, instead of Catbird. And Catwoman's like, remember me, you ruined my life, you're awful. And she's like, what? No, your life sucked. Everything about you sucked. You stole things and you didn't have any friends. And she's like, yeah, and we liked it that way. Look at you. You're literally making out with Batman. All right, that part isn't so bad. But you're not meant for that kind of life. So they just continued to fight until she says, remember the family game, where we get a flashback to when she was in an orphanage. They would break into houses that didn't have anyone in them and just kind of her and a friend of hers would just play house. and like steal their stuff. But one night, it's Christmas time, the family comes home and the family's like, oh, well, if you need someplace to stay, we're more than happy. We'll share whatever we have. And this little kid's like, here, you can take my book. And she's so upset by this, she just runs out of the building. So they continue their fight. Catbird manages to get the upper hand, and Catwoman just kind of disappears. And then as she wakes up in the morning, she's holding the costume out of the trash, and she's like, oh, I guess the cat got in the trash. Oh, well, never mind. Hey, sun's up, time to go patrol. So she heads out, and then all of a sudden, she's jumped by that guy who called earlier. And his name is Steel Jacket. And he's like, hey, Catwoman, I've been watching you. I've been saying, you used to be the greatest thief. I'm second banana. I am fully aware that I was always second to your brilliance and awesomeness at being a thief. But now you suck because you turned into a hero. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was never a thief. I was always a hero. She's like, no. Remember, try to focus. Like, what's going on out there? And he hits her hard enough that it like sends her reeling. She gets up, gets a handle on him. And as he's like spouting off like, oh, you sent him to Arkham. You did all this stuff. And he's like, no, like, there is no Arkham. It's just the readjustment center. And he's like, oh yeah, really? And as he keeps on pushing her, she takes out a batarang and like holds it to his throat and threatens to slit it. And she's like, wait, okay, hold on. That's not me though. I don't do that. That was a weird little one-off. I didn't do that. And he's like, no, it isn't. That's you. Open your eyes. Take a look. And as she looks over the edge of the building, she sees Gotham for the festering pit of garbage it really is. And he literally says the line, that other place was some kind of false paradise, a Gothtopia. So, yeah, that's that. As for a Gothtopia tie-in, it's all right. It's the same thing that the other books have been doing, where everyone's just kind of like, oh my god, it's so nice here, but like, I feel like something's wrong. Admittedly, Catwoman, I guess, is more reason not to fall for it, or not to want to escape, because her life is going so much better here than it would have before. Yeah, I don't know. I know that this one has a second part, so it has some good way to come back and like really analyze what the character of Catwoman is and whether or not she would want a life with Batman like that and want to give up everything that has held her back. But as it stands for this issue, it's all right. It's okay. I think the dream sequence was kind of out of nowhere and didn't need to happen, but it's for what it's doing, it's fine. I think the biggest flaw here is the being required to know that Detective Comics happened in between these two issues, because there's nothing in the pages that like hints to that. It just says a few days later, and they're like, well, we caught Batman. It's like, should I have read something? But beyond that, no, it's okay. I'll give it a 6.5. It's not blowing my hair back, but it is at least a decent issue.